Well, when you get into the actual Montessori certification courses, you will see that there's a lot of recording because I record most of the courses that we teach in like the demonstrations and stuff. And some of them are not edited very well. I like go through like almost every year. I'll watch the videos. Oh, no, I didn't. And I'm not that it's
You're just like, why did I do that?
there's a lot.
Yeah.
Video. Need video. I wonder. Hello, welcome back. We haven't really fully gotten started yet, so you haven't missed a thing.
Right.
Trying to find the best setting. There we go, full screen. That's what I wanted. It's still not completely full screen.
We need even fuller screen.
Yeah, for real, we need full screen, full screen. Okay, let me try that again. Stop presenting. Still learning, guys. Oh, wait, here we go. Entire screen, that's what I want to share. Yes, entire screen. Good. Yes, infinite mirroring. Oh, that's fun. Okay, let's switch that over to something else. Cool. Okay, you can minimize even more, right? Yeah. Okay, go away. Presentation. There we are. Hopefully that's working. We'll find out when we watch the video later. Okay, well, I think that this will probably be everyone, unless somebody else decides to show up. So welcome, welcome. I was just explaining that we do record these, and for our ladies who missed last week, that eventually they'll have access to the recording, but we haven't had time to edit it. So just getting Miss Michaela caught up on all that. And I handed them their papers for that. So just a quick recap from last week. You guys were challenged to check in with your leads regarding your daily schedule. Show of hands, how many of you were able to do that? Awesome, 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 awesome. You're like, yeah, for sure. Wasn't even here last week, but you're amazing. You know what to do. Okay, awesome. So from that conversation, and also some of you received an email today from Miss Michaela with like the detailed schedule. Hopefully it's not any different than if your teacher was able to give you one. But once you guys get those, do make sure you take a look at them and have a really good understanding of what your expectations are.
Yeah, you just got it like not that long ago.
Yeah, you probably haven't seen it yet. Yeah.
So you can
Unless you checked your email since you left work.
We just got an email.
I'll look at it later. Yeah. Not super urgent that you do that. I did add you to the recording, so or the video. The video call. Yeah. So would love to hear if you guys have any like immediate takeaways or feedback from being able to check in with your teachers on how daily schedules should be running in the classroom, and if you feel like that was a beneficial conversation.
I feel it was.
Yeah.
We basically back and forth figured out what was not working and what might work better, and some suggestions. And Jordan is our lead, and we were able to, you know, see what we're supposed to be doing and make sure that we have each other's back.
Perfect.
And then we did that Tuesday. Yeah. And then yesterday we were doing with 3 of us, we can do, you know, like one, and we changed our circle time, and so we have an afternoon closing, and then, because we have kind of a harsh transition when the afternoon aides come in and we're still there, and the kids are wound up and they're talking and they're trying to do snack because they want the kids to have snacks so they can go out.
Yeah.
And so we now, between 3 and 3:15, do a closing circle with Miss Jordan, so the kids are settled and ready, and then the afternoon aides. I say aides, afternoon.
Yeah.
People.
We call them
are,
aides.
Getting snack ready and joining in with circle, and then the kids are calm so they can go have snack and get ready to go outside.
Which sets their afternoon up a whole lot
Yes.
better. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
And yesterday
Well, thank you
went
guys
really
for
well.
considering that transition. That's a big transition that doesn't necessarily directly affect you guys. I mean, it does in that moment, but then
Right.
you're like leaving it to a different group of people.
Right, like
Um,
we're trying to get out the door and they're all like, bye, bye, bye. And the other ones are coming in and all the kids are up and moving around and they're trying to give them snack. And it's like, Jordan, can we do this? And she's like, yeah, let's go to a closing circle, but I haven't been able to. So,
Like,
perfect.
Awesome.
Today.
Well, that's amazing. I'm glad that that was a beneficial conversation. And with Miss Weeza, you're floating between the infant and ones rooms too. So did that help give you? Yeah, did that help you give you clarity what your role should be whenever you are the third teacher in the twos classroom? Kind of helped you figure out time frames to be in what rooms too?
I had a good training, but by Mrs. Connie, she's a great trainer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, good. Good.
The one classroom does have a detailed schedule as well. So if you ever are curious what theirs looks like, then you're welcome to look at that as well because you're
Yes.
in there so frequently.
And this actually aligns exactly with what we're doing in our practicum right now. So Miss Natalia is currently doing practicum for toddlers. And so she's on the flip side of this conversation where she needs to be detailing and outlining what she wants the one schedule to look like and then communicating that with her assistants and floaters. So I'm sure you'll be getting a check-in from her as well, like what your role, and you're subbing in there for the next couple of days, which is
So
cool
today
too.
we have just 7 with Camel, 7 kids with Camel, so 8.
7 out of 12?
Yeah, they've been-
Wow.
yeah, there's some
So most of them was the US6. So
Wow. And with it being Thanksgiving week next week, everyone will probably be a little bit lower.
yeah.
yes.
Trips and such. Very good. Anybody else want to share how conversations went with discussing schedules?
We talked to Miss Shelby about it, but it turns out she's also like doing like training where
Yes.
she's learning about scheduling. So she was like, how about let's talk about this later.
Yeah, we did realize because we talked about that like the last 2 meetings. So like they had just been assigned that, and then we talked to you guys about it, and then we recouped on that last night actually in practicum.
Yeah.
So both Hannah and Shelby are actively in practicum also. So they're on the flip side of this conversation.
Dang it, I shouldn't have procrastinated on asking this question.
Oh, no, you're good. And I think it helps them to know that you guys are actually interested in helping to make sure that the schedules run smoothly. But you've been smirking, so I'm
Well, I
curious.
just think it's funny because when I talked to it with Hannah, I could tell it. She'd already told me that it was in her practicum before, like before last week. So I knew that we were coming like to talk about schedules. And then when I brought it up though, it just, I could see the spike in anxiety. She's like, oh my gosh, they're watching me from your end now. And her facial expression was really funny.
I mean, I'm getting it from all sides right
Yeah.
now. That's not us checking in on her.
Yeah,
It's
I
that
was like, I
mutual
was just
training.
wondering, I wasn't pressuring you.
Funny.
Just rely on that general schedule we gave you guys for
Yeah.
now, and then
Yeah.
continue checking in with your lead so you guys can problem solve, just like Sarah had shared at the beginning.
Yeah, and most of our leads really appreciate having constructive feedback about the schedule and routine as well. So if you have found something that works really well, or maybe areas where you're finding a lot of tension, I mean, kind of what you guys were talking about, Sarah, that it's really, really helpful to make sure that your input is appreciated in those situations. So, okay, well, don't just drop the conversation, but allow them to also work through what they're supposed to be doing. We're all learning and growing, right? Okay, and then the other big thing that we asked you guys to do was to pick a classroom management skill that you guys wanted to focus on. And I was curious. I did leave a cheat sheet on the table right there in front of you, Scott, if you guys need to take a look at them. But we didn't document which ones. Did we have them?
No, we just
Okay.
had them think
about it. Okay, so I'd love for each of you to go around the room and identify one of the skills that you've been trying to be cognizant about, even though you guys were not. Wait, were both of you guys here during the classroom management training that we had, the whole staff training at the school? You brought, okay, perfect. So that was an assignment at that too. So this is not new. But I would love to hear which of the skills you guys have been personally like drawn to or focused on. Anybody would like to share?
Tone.
Whenever's that? Just what? Say that louder for the class.
Sorry, it's an inside joke.
Oh,
I
number
created a social story for his classroom, his and Hannah's classroom about the Peace Corner because the students were not using the Peace Corner properly. And I uploaded Mr. Scott and Miss Hannah's pictures.
I remember this.
And it generated a cartoon character of them. And in the story, Mr. Scott is helping a child, and it says, Mr. Scott got down and knelt down next to the student, and with a soft, gentle breeze voice, he said, he's like, how did you know I was working on that?
It's perfect. Because we're not nagging, right?
Yeah.
I remember now. Wonderful. Tone. So have you noticed a difference in your tone?
Yes, because my goal hasn't necessarily been, oh, I need my tone to always be this. My goal has been to be conscious of my tone and how I use it in each situation. So I've definitely noticed like to do that, taking more breathers, and the kids respect it too. Like they just put hand on my shoulder, they wait, and then I'm like, okay, let's evaluate. They go, I'm sorry about that. And I'm able to like actually think about, let's make sure my tone's correct. Let's step back. Like, don't just react to everything. I don't need to be moving every second. And it's helped a lot.
Good. So not just for the students, but it sounds like for yourself.
Yeah, I've just been able to feel more centered and in the moment with them. And I mean, I hope they feel the difference. I definitely feel the difference.
Good. I mean, it starts with you, right?
Yeah.
You're setting that tone. So if you're noticing a difference, certainly in some capacity they are. Awesome. Who else would like to share?
Yeah, so for me in infant room it's a little bit different, but just I noticed this afternoon. I don't know if you know the names of the kids, but Cyrus was like in Will and Papi. They were in their crib. Papi was crying, and when I gave them like toys, Cyrus was playing with his toys, and Papi was just crying and screaming. And I was like, "Good job, Cyrus. You're doing good. You're." And Papi was like, "How about if I play with my toys? Just calm down."
Really?
Yeah, it worked.
That's amazing. So using that positive reinforcement, so
Yeah.
focusing on the child who is,
behavior, yeah. It
yeah,
worked, even with the babies.
yay, that is. See, they observe so much more
Yeah, I
than
was
we give
like,
them credit for. That's
It's
wonderful.
working.
So number 6, reinforcing positive behavior. And that doesn't work with just that student, but the others around them who see it. Wonderful. Who else would like to share?
I've been working on that, giving positive feedback. My Kelly was in her room. I kept saying, "Good job." I'm like, "No, good job. I'm proud of you." I just try and go on because I say good job to them, or super job, or fantastic job. But I remember now, good job is not enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically,
So
So
thoughtful
I try
feedback.
to say, "Good job with this," or "at that," whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
To reinforce that what they're doing, not just good job, but
Yes.
what you're doing is wonderful, and I'm proud of you for doing that. And good job working with the sand and keeping it all in the buffer.
Yes. Yeah, I love that.
She was in the room the other day. I'm like, good job. Just keep going.
Yeah. You know what? It's really, really, really challenging to try to remove good job from your vocabulary if that's something you're used to saying. So I think it's absolutely like, let's reframe that. Like if we can minimize when we actually say good job, that's great, but add on to it. If it comes out of your mouth, okay, what am I praising them for? And let's be
That's the
specific.
first
That's
step.
definitely the first
It
step.
took me at least a year.
I mean, I still
to,
say
like,
good job all the
not
time.
initially start with good job.
Yes.
And it had to be like across the board, like with my own children and in the classroom. So give you guys some time and some grace while you're working on it. But I did the good job and
And then adding
then
to it.
added to it.
And then
first.
eventually you'll notice you could actually just start removing the good job
Yeah.
from whatever the rest you're saying. So
I keep trying to think, good job. What are you praising them for?
Yes.
What is the good job that
Exactly.
they're doing?
Yes.
And try and just keep going with it so that they
Mhm.
know, okay, I did a good job. And I did it for this.
Yep.
You know, good job for going on this show. I'm so proud of you for being dry, you know.
that's a
Just roll with it.
really great way to focus on that.
Mhm.
I had a student critique me for not saying good job the other day.
Oh,
Yeah, it was,
Tough
yeah.
crowd.
Captain, I was like, oh, I see that picture's there. And I was like going, I was just saying, it's like, I see you drew these lines here. I like the color. He goes, just say it's good.
it's good.
I was
Well,
like, okay.
that's, but that tells you that they've been programmed to
Those are-
expect.
That's called a praise junkie.
Yes.
I was like,
Yeah, we should have talked about praise
Yeah,
junkies.
that is
I don't
called
know
a
if that.
praise junkie. It
Oh.
means that they're not internalizing any praise and like building their own self-confidence. They're relying on someone else fully to do that.
Mhm. And that they're expecting that,
Yeah.
of course, it's a good job. Like, just say that.
yeah.
Yeah.
You don't need to be specific about what you like about it
Yeah,
or
it's
what I
just
did
here.
to it.
Okay.
So
You
yeah,
want
I
that
think that's a good
pattern.
indication
Yeah, that
that
is a good indication.
that they're noticing you're doing something different. Very cool. All right, anybody else have anything else?
I've been working on number 3, using more personal approach, because I find that sometimes I just get really overwhelmed when a lot of students need something, and I like kind of like end up like focusing on like one situation that like requires a lot of attention, and then like not going back to like the other kids who also need attention. So I've been like trying to like make sure that everybody gets attention while still like focusing on the things that need attention. I've been like trying to like do like more hugs. I've been trying to like comfort crying a bit more, because sometimes it's just like a lot when there's like a lot of kids crying, but I've been like trying to like do that more, or like doing things that'll comfort multiple kids at the same time.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. And let's see what else.
Have you noticed a difference that has caused for either you or for the students?
Yeah, I feel like me and the students have been like a little bit more connected than we used to be.
Good. Perfect. That's
What
what
we want.
Yeah, that's the intention of
I
that.
like have been like trying to like communicate with them a little bit more. We've been like reading a ton of books and been like stopping to like play or like do a little bit of work during like morning work time.
I love that. Oh, you guys are really taking these skills to heart.
This is just 1 week.
Yes.
Progress Knowledge has been 1 week.
Every time I walk into the twos room, there's this one kid who goes, "Can I see your pizza cat sticker?" Because I added a pizza cat sticker.
That's
Does
so
he have 4 buttons? And I'm just like, does he have 4 buttons? Yes.
Yes. Oh, what a great topic of conversation to be able to have.
I always love when they notice things about something I love that I've never noticed. I'm like, I never would have thought to ask that. Let's take a look. I don't know.
They are very observant.
Yeah.
Very observant. Let's see, Miss Weezer or Miss Parisa, do you guys have any skills that you'd like to share? It's okay if you don't. I'm not going to put you on the spot, but just wanted to make sure I didn't move past.
Yeah.
It has
Yes.
3 classes.
I think that's such a great
Oh,
skill for you to
great.
focus
Yeah.
on, like actually getting to know each of the
Yeah.
students. That's really challenging for me personally
Yeah.
because a lot of kids and I don't work in one particular
Yeah.
classroom. So I'm always just like, hey, buddy. They'll know my name and come up and give me a hug. And I'm like, and you are again.
And Olivia.
Maybe
No,
Amina too.
Anicia and Olivia.
And there used to be Amina in there too.
Oh, okay.
That one got me, Amina and Amicia and Olivia and
Mm-hmm.
but Winston and Owen also.
Winston and Owen.
I'm like, Winston. And
It's not who it is.
he'll come over and I'm like, I'm so sorry.
That's
I meant
not.
to be talking to Owen. He just walks up. I'm like, okay. But I am apologizing.
That's nice.
So and I'm also trying to learn parents.
That's
I
a
did
struggle
notice
too.
that when I was in your classroom the other day, a parent dropped off and she used the parent's name.
That's
And she
beautiful.
welcomed me and the parent into the classroom.
I forgot that was the last thing that we added on there. Who remembers the Agape Challenge, the greeting challenge?
Way to refresh people who were not.
Yes, that's true. Okay, so we have a challenge for everybody. It's called a greeting challenge. Every single person who walks through your room should be acknowledged and greeted in some way. And that can be a nonverbal wave or smile. Or if you can say hi or good morning, how are you? If you can use their name, add that into it as well. But the main thing is just that every single person who walks through your room should be greeted in some way. I need to do like when we get back from Thanksgiving, I'm going to just do a quick check in around the building and see how many rooms I walk through. Like I'm literally just going to like put my head in and see how many greetings I get. Have you guys been focused? Obviously you have. Anybody else like?
I was gonna say hi to you at one point today. I saw you peek your head over into was it you peek your head? Like you were standing outside and I was like,
Was it during nap time?
I think it might have.
I was bringing stuff back from the Thanksgiving feast over at Black Bob.
That's
So
what it was,
maybe,
yeah.
and I was talking to Leanne and Becca for a moment. So if I went like that, it wasn't like it was because was there a loud crash right before that?
I think there might have been.
Yeah, I
and
accidentally
just saw
knocked the
your
table
head.
over. We were trying to be quiet because it was nap time, and then I like stacked the tables up wrong and they fell on the floor. And then Becca was just like, and I was like, "Ooh, there's one in there."
Did I greet you?
What?
Did I greet you when I came in for food?
Yes,
Okay.
I think so.
'Cause I was so out of it because we had 6 kids in there
Were-
screaming.
Oh gosh.
And Jordan's like, go get food. And I'm like, but she's like, just go get food. We'll have bread. So I'm like, okay, I don't even know what this food is.
I think you didn't know. I didn't realize it was you, and I don't think you realized it was me. I think we thought we were like other parents at the table, and I like looked up and I said hi, and then you said hi to me.
Okay, because I was just like,
But I was like, oh, it's
you. When I walked out, I was like, did I even say anything?
yeah. I think you thought I was a parent because it wasn't like recognition right away. There was a lot of people. I was literally just sitting there smiling at everybody because I'm like, I don't know most of you anymore. So it's a lot. It's a lot. Good. Okay. Awesome. Well, I'm glad that you guys are taking these skills to heart and keep up the greeting challenge. Make everyone feel welcome. It's a great way to start the day or to re-energize the day. Smiles are contagious. Right. Oh, you did do this one?
I smile a lot.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever like crossed your path without a
I hope
smile.
it's
So thank you.
contagious.
It is contagious. I love
Whenever I
that.
walk out of the infant room, my cheeks hurt from smiling.
Cheeks.
Been confirmed.
Reminds me of the end of the Toy Story movie. The second one. You guys seen the second one?
Uh-huh.
It's the post-credit scene in the Barbie.
Oh yeah.
Barbie's like, bye now, bye now.
Yes,
And then she's like,
yes.
my cheeks. Really funny. Okay.
Poor Jay got me the other morning and he said, how are you doing? I said, I am doing super great. I got up, I have a job, and my car got me here, I have a
Yes.
roof over my head. And he's like, okay.
Like that was a
I was
lot.
positive in my life, okay?
That's perfect. I love that. Okay, we're gonna jump into some new content today. Not be brand new concepts for you guys, but hopefully a good review and overview. We're officially into the Montessori Assistants Training. All of you should have completed the first module, which is Principles of Optimal Learning. Okay, that's a very fancy way of saying how can we best create an environment to serve the student's level of learning. So what are some components that go into that? And you guys have a handout for this. So movement. Freedom of movement is huge in the Montessori environment. They need to be able to get their wiggles out whenever they have some pent up energy. It helps them to build their gross and fine motor skills. So many things that we can do with the movement area. So allowing that is really important.
Can I add something?
Yeah.
What is the biggest difference, like movement wise, that you would say was within a Montessori setting versus a public school setting?
Can you say that again?
So
Yeah.
thinking of public school,
Right.
compare that to the movement that we have inside of our Montessori classrooms.
There's a lot more individual movement in our classrooms
Mm-hmm.
than there are in public.
Mm-hmm.
Because in public, they're usually like in a group. Let's go here. Let's go here. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do
Mhm.
this. And our kids are given the freedom to choose where they want to go.
what area they want to work with.
Mhm.
Gives them more choices for themselves, more power over their individuality
Yeah.
and what their interests are.
What about like, do we have assigned seating?
No.
Or designated spots that the student has to stay?
Like a desk.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
what my mind goes to is like, if this were a table in the classroom, this is like a public school. This is Montessori. I'm done. He stands up and goes to find another place to
Yeah.
be like,
And it doesn't have to be at a table. It could be on the
Yeah.
floor.
Yeah.
They don't have designated spots for their work rugs. They can
Yeah.
put their work rug wherever they want to within the expectations of the environment, right? So we have very clear expectations, which we're going to cover what those are throughout this course. But the overarching concept here is that freedom of movement, freedom of choice, freedom for a child to explore their natural inclination, whatever it might be in that moment, within the parameters and routines of our classroom. So there are times of the day where it's appropriate for them to be able to move wherever they want in the classroom. And then there are times of the day where we do sit for periods of time because it's also important for us to learn to sit and focus, right? But that needs to be in short spurts. So we're not going to make that the majority of our day. All right, motivation. This goes a lot into those classroom management skills, right? So we are eliminating rewards and punishments. It's about their internal motivation, right? It's not an external force that is encouraging them to do something. It is something that they see for themselves, that they really want to do, that they are encouraged to do because they see the benefit of what they're doing. That's why we call it work. Work is what our students do because play is the important work of early childhood. So, substituting good job, what we were talking about, to I noticed or I see. So you have a wonderful start, Sarah, to that transition. And the next step would be to actually change the good job itself to the word something like I noticed or I saw. You seem to be. You're very focused. Whatever the situation is. It's that we want to move it from our perspective of the student to what the student is actually doing. Interactions. So understanding what children's natural inclinations are. We need to understand child development, which you're going to get into that section. Adopting those positive discipline or redirection strategies. And observe and respond to children's needs rather than reacting to the initial behavior. So we're going to talk a lot about what is a behavior. It's a need. We have a whole section. We're going to discuss that concept. Check your mood at the door. We're setting the tone of the classroom, right? So a lot of recap here. And use mirror neurons. Who remembers what a mirror neuron is from our classroom management skills?
there's certain,
Sorry. Oh, you both kind of like popped your head up.
so there are certain like, I'm not going to describe it like they did in the module because I forgot, but I do know what they are from beforehand. There are like neurons in your brain where when you witness someone else do that thing, the neuron associated with that action fires in your brain like a mirror one. And it's almost like you see it and then your brain goes, oh, and then it kind of fires a duplicate.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's that's definitely like setting the foundation for those mirror neurons. How do we continue to create them beyond just that modeling function? They see it. If they do it and they do it again, that repetition. So by repeating what?
And then they help others do it.
And then they help others do it. Yeah. So you're setting that foundation. They're doing it. They're doing it over and over again. And then they start showing someone else how to do it. All right. I have a quick test for you guys. I want you to look around this room and find everything that you can that is the color red. I'll give you about 5 seconds to look.
Are we just calling them
Oh,
out?
No. Just look around the room. I'm going to quiz you in a second. Find everything that you can is the color red. All right, time. Raise your hand if you can tell me without looking around the room something that was the color green. You missed the point. Just kidding. Can you, off the top of your head, recall something green whenever you were looking for the color red?
No.
No, because we're focusing on the red. So part of that mirror neuron is it's going to duplicate the things that you are focused on finding. So if you're seeing it constantly, you're going to see more of it, right? If you're not focused on seeing it, you're not going to find those things. So if I'm coming in and I'm like, there's so many behaviors in this classroom, I'm going to see this and this and this and this and all these things I'm going to have to redirect and these things I'm going to have to clean up, and that's what you're focused on, you're going to see that all day long. But if you go in there and think, man, I'm going to focus on how many smiles I saw today, how much engagement my students had, you think you're going to see more smiles and more engagement? Yeah. Because our brains are not capable of focusing on things that we're not focused on, right? We can only focus on the things that we try to initiate focus on. So keep that in mind. Very important.
That just made me realize that, like, our color of the week. Okay, you say it at circle time. You have a basket with that color in it. You just- and it's repeated over and over. And I'm like, okay, yeah, so we're drawing them on the color gray, you know?
And then you go on a color walk and we're looking for all of the things that are that color.
For them, for me to figure this, okay, I'm 56, all right, and it's just now clicking in my head that we do the color basket and everything that's in there is gray. Where can we find gray? Oh, look, this is gray and this is gray and this is gray. So the next day, who's wearing gray? And then they go to the color basket and they're like, look, this is gray. What else is gray? It just clicked in my head that, yes, we're doing that with the kids. I'm going to repeat it over and over. And in my head, I'm like, because they're learning it.
Because they're
You already know it.
Repetition.
Montessori, okay.
is key. Oh no, I think that that's something that I frequently have to remind myself of. And what you said earlier, the script you gave Shay whenever he asked about your day, that was you setting your intention for focusing on the positive things, right?
Yes.
Because you could very easily slip into all of the things that went bad on your way into
I've
work.
been a very negative
Someone
person.
cut me off. I almost got in a car accident. My kid was throwing a fit. They wouldn't put their shoes on. Like, I could focus on all of those things very easily unless we set our intention to focus on the positives.
I can
So-
say everything that bad has happened in my life, but I'm here.
That's not gonna
help you.
It's not going to
No.
help. Exactly.
I know it didn't help me. That's
Yeah.
why I focus on it.
But the same is true for learning in general. What we're focusing on our students. That's why we have a year-long curriculum. That's why we focus on different concepts for an extended period of time. That's why our students are allowed to repeat an exercise as frequently as they want to over and over. And we don't require that they share or take turns until they're done with that, because that means that that is what their brain is primed to learn in that moment. And if we take it away from them, they might lose interest, and then you've lost that window of opportunity for them to learn something. Pretty profound, right, guys? I can't take all the credit. This is Maria Montessori. Okay. I'm just regurgitating information that I have repeated over and over and over again. And that's why I know it. All right. So interests. Interests are a very important component of this. You guys are here, hopefully, because you are interested in learning these concepts, this content, these concepts. If I'm forcing you to learn something, your new hire training, your health and safety training. How much of your health and safety training do you feel like you probably remembered?
Well, the one I got in the beginning?
Not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. Why do you think that was?
I wasn't engaged in it.
It was boring.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in it. I'm not engaged in it. It's not holding my attention. It's not something I really want to learn about.
It's not something that's pertinent yet.
Yeah, I might be required. Like, okay, I get that it's important. I probably need to know these things, but there's nothing engaging me to want to learn them or to see the need of how it's actually going to apply to my day-to-day. Are you guys more inclined to learn something that you're interested in, a special interest of yours, a hobby? Man, you can learn those skills like that if it's something you're interested in. I want to learn how to knit. I'm not going to learn how to knit because I don't want to know how to knit. Okay. I'll be honest. I don't know how to sew because that's not an interest of mine. But if I wanted to, girl, I could do a spreadsheet in Excel like that, which is the most boring thing to most people, but I find it interesting. So I'll spend hours researching how to figure out how to set up this particular formula because that's something I want to do.
All I'm hearing is no ugly Christmas sweaters for the staff this Christmas from Miss Christine.
What is that supposed to mean?
You're saying you don't like want to knit.
Oh, no. Yeah,
ugly
no.
Christmas
No,
sweaters.
you will not be getting that from me.
Oh,
I'm not a crafty person in general, so it's going to be store-bought.
here we go.
How inclined are you guys to learn things that you're interested in? Yeah. So how important do you think it is to have your students be interested in what they're learning?
Very.
And is there any point in trying to teach them something that they don't care about or that you haven't figured out how to engage them?
That's called public school.
Yes. So their interests are everything. And if you're trying and pulling and, pulling your teeth out trying to get them to learn a concept, it's probably not the right time for them to be learning it, or we need to reframe the way that we're teaching it. Now, if it's something like a behavior that we need them to learn to be successful in our program, then that's on us to figure out how to engage them into learning those concepts. If it's an academic concept that they're not engaged in, there are things that we can definitely do to try to engage them in it by figuring out what their interests are and bringing that into that concept. But it could also mean that they're not interested in it yet. They have that window for them has not opened. And so we're going to move on. That's why potty training is so important with our 1s and 2s. This is called a window of opportunity. A sensitive period. I'm going to repeat this phrase repeatedly throughout our training. Sensitive periods. AKA window of opportunity. Windows open, windows close. Sensitive periods come at pretty typical developmental milestones, but sensitive periods can also occur organically, naturally, based on just like a general interest that they might have, like in cars or trains or trucks, construction vehicles. How many kids go through those phases where they just, all they see are the construction vehicles everywhere they go? Because that's a typical window of interest for kids. Potty training is a sensitive period, and it typically hits between 18 months to 2.5 years. And if we miss that window, what do you think happens?
It makes it harder to potty train them.
Exponentially.
How many students do you guys currently have in a children's house classroom that are struggling with toileting right now?
Good.
No,
I'm glad it's
no.
just one.
I love that.
They are
But it's
they are
yeah.
definitely about getting close to the end of that interest.
Yeah. So you know what we call that? Typically a 3-year-old who has not in any way, shape, or form gotten close to learning how to use the toilet. We call that remedial toilet learning.
Oh.
And it's remedial because it takes a lot of extra effort and it happened after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
Because we missed their sensitive period for learning to use the toilet. And now it's no longer interesting to them. It's like trying to get a teenager to clean.
Yeah, I
Trying
think
to get Christine in knit.
I'm far past that sensitive period. Man, you didn't introduce me that in like 2nd grade. Probably I would have liked it, but I'm past it.
What about Christian?
I don't know. We'll see. I might get there someday. I'm not old enough yet, I don't think.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Maybe you just haven't.
Yeah, I haven't hit it yet.
Yeah.
I'm in the closed window. I probably had one before and one later.
Yeah.
But the point being, it's very important for you guys to learn what a typical sensitive period window is for a child. And then in general, to start to recognize when a child is in a sensitive period. We're going to talk more about sensitive periods. I just like to help you guys lay the foundation that interests are very important for having an optimal learning environment. Okay, control. Offer real choices, limited choices, and offer minimal help, the minimum amount of help necessary to help a child complete a task.
Done.
Yes.
Never help.
Minimum. Never help them. No,
a child.
that's not what I said. we help them by not over helping them. We do the bare minimum of help to allow them to do it by themselves. I'm going to help you do it by yourself.
Never help a child with something they can do themselves. With
Well,
something
it's
they can
not-
confidently do.
It's not never help them. It's help them minimally.
Well, I was just quoting
Oh.
Montessori.
Yeah, that is.
Gotcha. Sorry.
For which a child feels that they are capable
Yeah,
There you
of
go.
for which a
succeeding.
Yes.
child feels that they are capable.
Yes.
Yes. So the capability there, if they're frustrated, then we want to step in and see what we can do to help them move past that frustration level. A child should not be in the middle of a task where they're about to throw something because they're so upset that they can't do it. But we also, there's like a happy medium there, because if you step in too much, then they're going to become sensitive to becoming frustrated. And they're going to get frustrated very quickly because they are used to people doing things for them. And now you're expecting me to do it myself? See, these teenagers who can't clean when they're teenagers are because they were not allowed to clean when they were little and they were in that sensitive period for cleaning. Kids love to clean. I've had debates with my peers in college about children and cleaning. They think it's awful and horrible that you would allow a child to sweep the floor, to use a vacuum, to clean up their own spills. That's child abuse. No.
Are they gonna learn?
They want to. They want that autonomy, that independence. They want to feel like they are a contributing member of society. That's all. That's what we all want, right? We all want to feel productive, that we are worth something. And if cleaning up a spill on the floor allows a child to feel like they have value, that they're contributing to their classroom,
Self-victory.
celebrating the personal victory. I did it. Don't take that away from them. Now I'm going to give that kid chemicals and clean a toilet. No, we do have boundaries there. If it involves chemicals or bodily fluids, it's off limits. Do not allow them to help you with those particular tasks.
I never mentioned last time that when we were going over like use a wet wipe for changing a child. Anytime I've ever had to give a kid a wet wipe, I kid you not, I end up cringing every time because I see it, and then a part of me goes, "You can't give them a Clorox wipe." And
No.
no, this is made to clean.
Yeah, the wet wipe is a little different.
Yeah.
That's good.
But I do cringe every time.
Yeah, well, I'm glad that, that's good. Self-preservation there. All right. Context. Analyze the environment and approach as to whether they meet, oh my goodness, I can't read, and reflect the culture of the child. Okay, so the context of our classrooms need to be reflective of what makes sense in our society. Okay, so this is mentioned because a lot of Montessori training took place. Anybody have an idea of when, around the time Montessori started developing her method?
Around like the 20s into like the 40s.
That her method was pretty much developed at that point. That's when it started expanding around the world and in the United States.
Early 1900s.
But yeah, yes. So early 1900s. So around the turn of the century, 1900, 19 to 1920 is when she was really working hard on developing the method. And then it started exploding into the 20s, which is so awesome. You're right there. Exploding worldwide. Well, and then she got stuck in, where did she get stuck? In India? Yeah, during the World War.
Yeah, because she was Italian, wasn't she?
Yes.
She got kicked out by Mussolini because she was like, maybe fascism is bad actually. And then he was like, no, you can't do that. Go to India and be friends with Gandhi or something.
Well, he wanted her to open a ton of Montessori schools so that they could implement fascist ideals within the schools, and she refused to. So
that's what I was originally taught in high school by my future educator's teacher that Montessori was. It was that you use this so you can get them to do what you want to secretly.
Yeah. When people don't understand Montessori, they really don't understand.
Yeah,
Montessori.
that's kind of funny.
I look back at that and I'm like,
what?
She really didn't understand.
No, that's literally the opposite of what
Exactly,
Montessori wanted. She wanted children to be free thinkers and capable of doing things for themselves. Yes, not the fascist ideals. Okay, and then maintain order of the environment and uphold a sequence of daily schedule. Order is very important. So you do that by preparing your environment, making sure your shelves are presentable, everything is put back where it belongs, everything is clean and tidy, organized, and you're following a normal routine and procedures for your day. And then collaboration. So model mistake making and recovery. We've talked a lot about that. You guys admit to your own faults in the classroom, come clean with the kids, apologize, do all the things that we need to do. When we get into actually presenting work, we'll show you guys how to model how to make a mistake in your work so that you can recover in those situations and model that it's okay to make mistakes in our work too. So embracing those mistakes, and encourage older children to work together as long as concentration is not sacrificed. So most of our children, infants, 1s, 2s, they're working by themselves. We're not doing collaborative play at all at that age. They're going to do some parallel play. Does anybody know what parallel play is?
That's when you're like doing an activity with someone, but they're doing a separate activity and you're both working separately, but in proximity with each other.
Yes, yes. And you could even take it a step further where they're working with the same material, but differently. Yeah, they're doing, so they're kind of working alongside each other, but they're not collaborating. It's not until they get to, some 3-year-olds can do this. I mean, even some 2-year-olds are somewhat capable of this if it's to help. Yeah. But really, you don't see a lot of genuine collaboration until they're closer to like 4 in a really concrete sense.
When I learned that detail in the videos you have for us, all I could think was, man, my social worker when I was in the 1st grade must have had a lot of notes.
Okay.
If most experienced that at 4.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's a continuum. Okay, not
Yeah.
everyone's on the same trajectory. That's like the minimum of when it's capable of happening. Not that kids even want to at that age.
Yeah.
They still like to do their own thing, which is why that freedom of movement, freedom of choice is very helpful. So how do you know if you should intervene with a child or if it is appropriate to wait?
If they ask for help.
If they're asking you for help. Okay, so even then though, how do you know what the bare minimum help that you can provide would be?
First, I will ask what they need help with.
Okay.
Well,
Get
first-
curious.
First, if they're yelling it at me, I'll say, okay, I'm sorry, I can't understand you. When you use an inside voice, I'll understand what you're saying better. And then they'll go, oh, sorry. And then they tell me, like if I have a kid saying I need help cleaning up water, typically the next thing I'll say is, it's like, okay, do you remember where we keep the rags? And then they'll say, yeah. And then it's just, so let them do it. If I have a kid that then goes like, they have a giant spill and they remember to get rags and they go and get like 20 different tiny rags to pick up the spill, then that's when I'll intervene and go, okay, have I ever introduced you to our big towel? And then they're like, no. And I'm like, well, we have a whole drawer for it. And
I love all the questions. You're getting curious. So a lot of times, especially when a child asks for help, get curious, figure out what's going on and what level of help they actually need. Because sometimes it's just processing for them. The help you're providing is the processing. Okay, so say there might be a potential behavior happening across the room. How do you know when or if to intervene? We kind of talked about this last week.
Kind of walk that direction. And
Yeah.
observe what's going on. And
See what
happens. Because usually they'll see you and they'll be like, oh, let's just part our ways.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what
Or-
I do with the babies. I keep observing them first, but then I wait to see what they are going to do.
Yes.
Then if they need help, I can help. If they don't need, just observe it.
Yes. So what would be the reason to not just jump in and immediately like break up something before potentially something happens?
Because they're learning from each other, usually. Or helping each other.
Like they are having like interaction.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. We're taking away an opportunity for them to learn a new skill or be self-sufficient.
if you attempt to prevent a bad behavior preemptively, then how are they going to learn not to do bad behavior in the first place? Like if it's like you're stepping in before they've even done anything just because the signal they were giving off, it's like, well, how are they going to learn? Oh, I'm getting overwhelmed. Here's how I calm down. Like you pretty much just tried to remove them before they had the chance to.
Exactly.
Have you ever, when you've observed your students, have you always had to jump in and help them, or have they been able to figure out themselves?
yes, sometimes they are able to do it. Even they are babies.
Yay!
Yeah.
Yes.
Sometimes they
That's
just resolve the situation by themselves. And it's just like,
Yeah.
wow, was not expecting that. Good job.
Yeah.
And then you got to witness it because
That's
you
good job.
moved into close proximity. So
You
it was
did
a good
it.
moment for you as well.
You
Yes.
didn't get them all in 3 hours.
Uh-huh.
So cute.
I'm also learning to walk and observe because then it's keeping me from being like, Lily, come here, Olivia, or whoever. And I'm learning that we can't stand in the doorway of the restroom because I think I'm always in there. One of us is always in there.
In a two's room, yeah.
And rather than being like, come on, Jaideek, it's your turn, I'll be like, walk. Come on. Because I've been known to be like, let's get it done, let's get it done, let's get it done. Because there's 14 of you that all need to go, and then in another 2 hours, you all need to go. And by the time I get out of here, you only get 20 minutes. So being a little more patient and walking to them and saying, come on. And like Miss Jordan asked us to do, they don't have a choice. They have to go to the restroom.
Mhm.
Do you want to walk or do you want to hop? Which way you're going to get there?
Yeah, so it's providing the choices we talked about. Perfect. It's funny to hear you guys talk about it because there's literally so many different skills and angles that you look at one situation from.
Within 20 seconds.
Right. Right. It's a lot of the things that you guys are doing are not just a straightforward, oh, well, I'm here and we have this task to do and we're going to do it. I'm here to assist these little beings in growing to be whoever they're capable of being. And every interaction and every moment throughout the day is an opportunity that we can be intentional about how we engage with our students, whether it's changing diapers or cleaning up a spill. All of those opportunities that might have felt very mundane and we're just getting from point A to point B, that's a part of the process, and they're all very important.
I had a very hard time today with parents feeding their child or washing their hands. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
let's show mom how we do this. Let's show grandpa how you can put this in the trash.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, they do it themselves?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
They
Show
sure
them we do
do.
that every day.
When you
Sure
guys get
do.
into this pattern of following those 10 classroom behavior management skills and doing the redirections and not saying the good jobs, it's going to feel like this is common sense, common knowledge to you because it makes sense to us. We see how this is working. There's evidence behind what we're doing and why we're doing it, right? It's not common knowledge. So a lot of our parents don't realize what they're doing is not helping their children become independent. But as people who study Montessori and then eventually become Montessorians, you guys start to realize that we can do that minimal help so that they can be able to internalize that positive and become very sufficient little preschoolers.
Mhm.
And it's more rewarding for you guys
Yeah.
because you see you're setting that intention of every moment as an opportunity to learn something. And for you guys to be able to use your skills. Like you got to get excited, like all of these skills that you're learning, you're like, oh, when am I going to get a chance to actually implement that? And so if you're actually looking for those moments to be able to implement them, it's really fun. Okay, so from your guys' perspective, what is a few things that you guys can do to help maintain order within your environment? And preferably ways that you can help to engage with your students to maintain order within your environment.
You can. What are things that need to be orderly in your classroom?
Make sure that the classroom is clean and well organized.
How?
Yeah.
By like helping keep the shelves all straight, helping clean up messes with the kids. Like if there's something like out of place that the kids can't fix, make sure you just do it quickly because like little details really it makes the space live. I just think.
Like how you said that.
Yeah, I
How it
do
lives.
too.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
So preparing the environment to make it more orderly. So
Yeah.
as an assistant or a floater in the classroom, if you notice that a student put something on the shelf inaccurately and they haven't moved on to another lesson yet, they're not fully concentrated yet, you could go get that child and say, oh, remember this is how this looked, let's do it together, and have that student help reset that lesson on that shelf. You can do this in the infant classroom too. I know it's a little tedious, but I've actually seen infants, the older infants, put the work back on the shelf because the teachers helped them put it back on the shelf.
Yeah, and it could be as simple as with your immobile infants, simply saying, oh, it looks like you're done with this. I'm going to put it away for you.
Yes.
It goes over here.
Yeah. So you're forming that
So
pattern.
you're
routine
showing
for
them. And the order, especially in an infant and toddler environment, it's very important. Well, all of them really, but the order in which things go on the shelf is very important because that sets the tone for the student. The meticulous order in which things go, it's a constant for them. They know what to expect. They come to the environment. It's one less thing that they have to continue to process. Like, oh, there was this work that I really want to do. They know exactly where it is because it's in the same spot. So whenever it's not there, that can make them feel somewhat out of sorts. Like, oh, well, where's the thing that I want to find? How frustrating is it to you guys when you're in your home and you're looking for an item that you really want to use or that you need for something and you can't find it because you didn't put it back where you thought you put it?
But you guys have
That might just be my problem. It happens all the time.
But you guys have those coping skills to be able to be frustrated in an appropriate manner, hopefully. These children do not. They don't know all of those.
Okay,
things
but
yet.
at what level is your frustration whenever you can't find your keys or your phone? Like, do you guys get frustrated?
Oh,
that a-
feeling when you lose all internet access?
Well, a little different, but yes. So just imagine the level that you feel of frustration on a good day, and it was your fault that it's not where it was meant to be. It's not the kid's fault that the things didn't get put back where they belong. That's our job.
Or that they can't complete a lesson because a material to that lesson is somewhere else.
Yes, we're going to cover that in prepared environments, the complete and beautiful materials. So just think about that the next time something is out of order in your classroom, things didn't get put back, the level of frustration that you might be causing students whenever they can't find the materials that they wanted to work with.
Now, we're not expecting you to only go around and clean everything
No.
in the classroom. Like, the first priority is the students, obviously. But including those students in that process is super helpful. And it also teaches them to be respectful to their environment, to take care of it. So,
And then different ways that you can engage your students of let's put the material away. So in general, infants, we're not expecting to put materials back on the shelf. That's not an expectation, but there are things that you can do as the guide in that room to show them where things belong and to keep it consistent. Similar with the 1-year-old classroom, our goal for the ones room is that they just put it on a shelf.
Yeah, in
They-
last one, they can totally.
They can put it back on the shelf. Do they put it in the right spot on the shelf?
It's,
Probably
like,
not. Maybe.
Morning work, just the morning work.
Oh, okay.
Montessori work, no. So, they can help them with the chair, putting the chair.
Yeah.
So put the water barrel for each one,
Yeah.
and then the toes one, they can do everything.
Yeah, so our goal for the ones room is that they're putting it back on the shelf. It might not be the right shelf, but they understand a cycle of activity. They get their work, they do their work, they put their work away when they're done. Even if it's not in the right spot. They can. I'm not saying they're not capable.
Just the morning work, they.
No, but their Montessori work, if they just put it back on a shelf,
Yeah.
it can't be in the same order.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they
put
can
on a
also
shelf.
Pick up, and I've seen them do it,
Yep.
Yeah.
with Miss Connie, because she'd be like, sing a little song, you could put this on the
So
shelf.
Mason
this on the
can
shelf.
do that. Mason and Ada.
She
Yeah.
got younger kids right now.
yeah, they
Yeah.
might just
Younger
need some
ones.
help and some reminders.
And then the twos room is we're hoping that they're putting it on the right shelf.
Yeah.
It might not be in the right spot on the shelf, but they got it back. They've got the math thing back to the math shelf.
And lots of times I'm like, is that where that came from?
Yeah.
And they're like, no. Can you show me where it goes?
And they know.
And then they remember.
Mhm.
And then when we come in the morning and they've been through it in the afternoon, that happens a lot. We're like missing a puzzle piece. Who can help me find it? Can you find this puzzle piece? And they're it's like the new hide and seek game.
Yeah.
They'll find other stuff too, and they're like, we found this. All right,
Yes.
well, show me where it goes.
And that's a great opportunity to engage them in creating an orderly environment and to understand that things do go missing sometimes and that it's all of our responsibility to help find them. And we don't throw them in the trash.
And
They don't go in the
put them our
trash.
backpack and take
Yes,
them home.
exactly.
We don't
Exactly.
flush them down the toilet.
Definitely not that.
So what about Children's House? What would we expect a first year Children's House student to be able to do?
In which regard with putting back work?
Yes.
A good question.
So they just transitioned from a twos classroom where they just had to put it back on the correct shelf.
Okay. I would expect them to be no. If they just transitioned, I would not expect them to be able to do that because they've never seen our room before. I would expect to be able to introduce them like, okay, so this is where we keep this work. And
ease them into putting it back? in
So you
structure?
have to give them a lesson on where
Yeah.
things go in the classroom.
Me or Hannah?
Yeah,
Whoever
well,
is-
you will be able
Yeah.
to.
Okay,
You're gonna take
yeah.
a tour around.
Yes.
the classroom.
So that is a wonderful point. Thank you for bringing that up. This doesn't come naturally just by us modeling it, right? That's a huge part of it. We have to model, we have to prepare, we have to reset, but then we have to provide actual lessons to our students and what our expectations are. Literally everything that we expect them to do in a classroom setting, we have to expect ourselves to show them what that means. What does that look like?
Repeatedly.
Repeatedly, yes. So you have to give them an actual lesson. So that's what really all the Montessori certification mumbo jumbo is about. What are those lessons? How do we present them? What do they look like?
Mhm.
The rest of this is that foundation of, in an ideal setting, this is what it could look like. These are the ways in which we start that process.
But it's only leads doing the lesson.
Through certification training, depending on how far you guys go, assistants can give lessons in certain areas of the classroom. So that's a lot more to do with like the daily routine schedules, where the lead teacher is with kind of your expectations, how normalized your classroom is. There's a lot of things that go into whether or not an assistant can give a lesson on something. But general classroom expectation lessons that are called preliminary exercises, you guys will learn how to present those. And those are more in the moment lessons and not necessarily like you're sitting down working with a student all the time. All right, we're going to move on to Montessori philosophy. And you guys have a handout for that. This is just a bunch of terms.
Lots of terms. Montessori has all the terms.
Is that right? Did I go the right one?
I'm glad you give the definition.
Important
because
terms.
I'm looking at them and I'm thinking, oh boy.
I don't think I opened the important terms one.
Airplane there.
Yeah, I don't even know why that one's on the list. It's not.
Montessori
did.
environment for adolescents.
Some of these we aren't going to use, but
I am curious as to how that works as they get older.
Oh, Nido. So a fun story about Nido. That basically, like, there used to be like a robin's nest in the recess yard, and it was outside
Yeah.
like the toddler infant room window, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's Nido.
Nido. Nido is the Italian word for nest, and that is what Maria Montessori referred to as the infant classroom. It was the nest. So Nido. If you hear
I
of
think
an,
those birds knew what they were doing.
yeah, I think so. That's pretty sweet. I really love that term. All right, so diving into important terms here.
there's a candy break.
Wait.
Oh, I've been eating my
All right, so I'm not necessarily going in the order that you guys have on your sheet here, but we should at some point cover the majority of these terms. It's like your quick reference guide. Planes.
Definitions, so we don't need to read all of those.
Yeah. You guys have them. All right, so planes of development. Maria Montessori defined 4 distinct planes of development for human beings. We are primarily focused on our first plane of development, which she overarchingly called infancy. It is obviously not just infants, infancy meaning this is the largest time in our life where we're growing physically, emotionally, mentally. We make so much progress during this time in our life. So from 0 to age 6 is the first plane of development. And then you have from 6 to 12 is childhood. 12 to 18 is adolescence, or you can call that, yeah. So childhood being elementary. Adolescence, they called Endkinder. I don't understand what that term is exactly, but it is an Italian term for adolescence. And the one that you were just asking about,
Erdkinder?
Yeah, you can probably pronounce it.
That's
It's okay. It sounded German to me.
Is that Italian?
I don't
No, I
know.
think it is German. I think I
Yeah,
did
That
learn
sounds
about
that sounds German to me
I
too.
think it was a term created by that other guy who made kindergarten.
Ooh, maybe. I don't know. We're going to skip over that term, just to delete that from this recording. Okay. We're not talking about that word. And then 18 to 24 is the maturity. That's where we're growing into adulthood. Okay. Do you guys notice anything about the continuum of development? What's the highest age on this?
24. And that's about
24.
when like the frontal lobe is developing.
Yes, that is right. So our young adults, are they fully developed yet? No, they're not. You guys are still developing.
Yay.
You're in your maturity
Morally.
stage. Yes, all of the above. And not to say that you can't continue to grow and mature and develop after that, but your synapses are fully formed. Your prefrontal cortex is going to be at its strongest. You should have a lot more understanding of your worldview at that point. Before the age of 25, we are still developing what it means to be a human being. You're still finding yourself. You're still figuring out what you want to do. And we still have exploration. We're still learning and growing after that stage, but it's part of the continuum. Each of the phases are broken into two parts. So you're going to see the upside down triangles here. So 0 to 3 is the first half of infancy, and 3 to 6 is the second half. Isn't that interesting? You guys notice anything about that, the way we do our program?
Because like from like 0 to like 3, you're basically just like a very small like baby child toddler, and then from 3 to 6 you start like actually growing into like a child.
Thing I noticed is that from 0 to 3 is that point where each age still has its own classroom, and then once you get to 3, you get to that point where they're in three different age ranges of like a unit, like they're together.
Like
Yeah.
when they get to 3, they're developed enough that they can like talk with like the other like 3 to 6-year-olds.
Yeah.
Like their brain is developed to the point where they can socialize with a 6-year-old.
Right.
But like an infant can't socialize with a 3-year-old very well.
Exactly.
Once you
So-
hit 3, they start having their role models in the 4, 5, and 6-year-old.
Because they are in that second plane of development, or they're still within the first plane of development, the second half of that first plane of development. So the 0 to 3, huge amounts of growth. We're literally coming out of the womb not knowing anything about this earth except for what our mother's and father's voice sounds like and what a heartbeat sounds like. And you're learning to eat and you're learning to sleep on a regular schedule, and everything is new. From 0 to 3, they're considered to be in the unconscious absorption phase. So you're going to see the absorbent mind on here. The first plane of development is the plane of the absorbent mind. They are absorbing everything around them. From 0 to 3, we're unconsciously doing that. Literally everything in their environment is being absorbed, whether they want it to be absorbed or not. Right? The noises, the sounds, they have no choice. They're just there.
They're taking it all in.
Yes. Everything,
single thing.
every sensation they have, every experience they have, most of them are brand new to them, and those are creating major connections for them. That's still happening in the 3 to 6 phase, but it moves from unconscious to conscious absorption. The difference there is they can have an intention behind what they want to learn. They are more focused, and they can have a desire to learn a concept and not just have that concept naturally absorbed.
That's interesting that that's around the same point that language learning becomes more difficult. Like the point where children just kind of pick up a language of whoever their parents are or whatever is in their environment. That's interesting.
What do you mean by that?
I mean that it's interesting that the point where they still have the absorption mind, like at 3 and up, but they have more intent behind what they're learning. It's interesting that once you get to that point, they start getting to that point where it's like, oh, a lot of them are already speaking, or well, I hope a 3-year-old's already speaking at least somewhat, but it's like, I have kids where it's like, listen, I have one student where, well, not him as much as his older brother, Aki, but they speak 4 languages, and I'm like, that's more than me. And you learned this when you were 2. And it's just interesting.
Yeah, that's what happened with me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. So I learned 2 languages, Arabic and French, when I was little. But it's very hard with English now.
Mm-hmm. Very hard.
It
When
was
we are
hard.
adults, yeah.
But
Yeah.
you know what's interesting that you said that they've been learning it since they were like 2.
Mhm.
Do you think they had exposure to those languages before the age of 2?
Well, I do think they had it before, and I remember talking to their mom one time because she was talking to me about how I asked her one time, like, because out of curiosity, I'm like, do they speak each of the languages they know like equally, or do they have like a native language like one they opt to? And she said, well, it's different with Aki. When she first had him, she was raising him at home, and the first language she started speaking was hers. Like the first one he spoke was Slovenian. With Thai, she said he was in a daycare in China when they were living there in Shanghai. His first words were Chinese. So their first languages were 2 different languages based on where they were their first couple of years. I'm like, that's very interesting.
Yes, because they are absorbing
Mhm.
everything around them. If a child is not exposed to a language before the age of 2, it is very challenging to learn that language later on. Now you can learn the language and you can learn it much easier even in childhood, elementary age, it's still much easier for them to learn. Everything is much easier to learn whenever you're younger, if you're interested in learning it, especially. But if they haven't been exposed, let me switch that around. If they have been exposed to the language before the age of 2, it will come very naturally to them, even if they don't actually learn how to speak that language until later. Becca has a really cool story about Bella. They spoke Spanish a lot when Bella was a baby. Like they almost exclusively spoke Spanish to her as an infant, but she never learned how to speak Spanish. She took Spanish in high school. They said she had the most fluent Spanish accent that they'd ever heard, because she had that foundation as an infant, even though she didn't use the language growing up.
I have a similar story. My sister was adopted from China. She ended up being adopted around like 19 months, around 20 months or so. Never learned Mandarin. I finally convinced her, like, you should really take Mandarin classes, and she did. When she introduced herself to her teacher, they said, it's like, can you speak Mandarin at home? And she goes, no. And he goes, well, your accent is perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And I go,
yeah,
you were there for 19 months.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Very cool. Thank you for a second case study there. That proves the point. We actually start to prune information very quickly as children. Does anybody know what that means, to prune?
When you actually you can go first. I need to.
It's like selected.
Yeah. So you're absorbing all of these things. There are certain components of your brain that if you don't use it, you lose it. Like legitimately, your brain is taking in so much information that if you're not repeating that information, if it's not exposed to you at a very early age, it starts to prune. Have you ever pruned like roses? Like you cut off the thorny or dead bits? Your brain does that. It tries to get rid of excess information that it doesn't think is important. So if we're not exposed to it at a super young age, that pruning process starts happening with our language development, and it's going to start cutting off our ability to create certain sounds with our mouths. There are cultures around the world, indigenous cultures, that they speak very guttural languages where they talk a lot from their throat. And most people who don't grow up in those societies cannot recreate the sounds that they make, because they were not exposed to it at an age where their mind was capable of learning how to reproduce those sounds. Yeah, it's really interesting. Well, we could get into language development so much here. The point is,
We'll learn more.
Yeah, and you guys will learn more.
If you guys students are patient.
So we're going to move on from the planes of development here. We talked about the absorbent mind. Sorry, I should have flipped to this before. It's a sponge, yes.
Yay.
So we're not a bucket to be filled. We're a sponge that absorbs everything. So don't think of your child as an empty vessel that you're pouring things into. They're soaking them up, and it's being incorporated within them. And then the pruning process starts squeezing some things out.
Or like the
So-
like a bunch of little sponges, and they get squeezed out individually.
I love that imagery.
Oh, that actually is really upsetting imagery. Oh.
Oh goodness. So this just covers the difference between the unconscious creation so that your mind is creating things or absorbing things, and then conscious absorption, where you're intentionally seeking a purpose to learn something. All right, we talked about sensitive periods. I like to point out some of the major sensitive periods that you see in general with children based on age. So again, who can tell me what a sensitive period is?
Window of opportunity.
Yeah.
Window of opportunity.
Window of opportunity. So something, it's either like because developmentally it's open or because it's just a very special interest to them. So during these times, you're going to see children focus on an activity, typically repeating it over and over and over again. So typically, sensory awareness is a very wide window. From 0 to 4 is when kids really start to enjoy sensory experiences. And sensory is all of our senses, the things that we hear, the things that we see, the things that we smell and taste. They're much more open to experiencing a lot of different things. If they didn't get a wide variety of food before the age of 4, they're going to be really picky eaters. They might be picky eaters anyway, because kids just have sensory things sometimes, and that's okay. But if they don't have a wide variety, they're probably not going to like a lot of new things after the age of 4. Or if they don't like certain textures or different things like that, sounds and things like that, it could be because they weren't exposed to it at a very early age, like sensitivities. Language development. Oh, food allergies can also be caused partly due to lack of introduction to certain foods before the age of 4. If you're not exposed to it, then your body doesn't have a way of developing. It can. It's not in all situations, but people can also just have allergies because they have allergies and nothing to do with exposure. Language development is the entire time. So you guys don't have to worry about like hitting a specific language development. The important thing to know is talk to your babies. Oh, speaking of language, talk to your babies in your language. You work with infants and toddlers. Talk to them in whatever languages you guys know.
You can speak in all of them, and then you can just repeat it back
Just
to
like
them
I
in
did.
English. Say
Yeah.
it in your language, and then also say it in English.
So yeah,
It's a good exposure.
Use
because
it.
They're taking it in. That they're like literally. It's getting all smunched up in their brains.
When I first started here, I learned Spanish talking with Aki.
I love that.
So-
He and I taught each other Spanish.
That's so fun.
So with Miss Sylvia in Joe's room,
Mm-hmm.
so sometimes she did that.
Yeah.
So she like the animals. So she learned it. So she's in French.
It's funny, we used to have like a full Spanish program, but a lot of our teachers butcher it because we can't reproduce the sounds appropriately. And some of our teachers who are comfortable and confident in it, we do encourage them to go over like Spanish letters and numbers and colors and things like that, because Spanish is a very prevalent language that's spoken in the United States. However, we don't necessarily force that, because if it's not spoken in the native language, it's not as beneficial to be introduced to it. So that's why like these Spanish immersion programs and other like English immersion programs in other countries, they'll actually pay Americans to come over to teach those programs because they want a native speaker teaching. And it's not as effective if it's not your native language. So that's why we don't have a specific language that we encourage to be spoken in our program. It's just whatever languages we have access to.
Especially since languages are like really finicky, where there's like a lot of details where like if you haven't been like immersed in the language for like a long time, you like don't know specific details.
Yeah.
And like the fact that in English, like if you just haven't heard every like word, you just don't actually know how to pronounce it, because like most
Because they're not phonetic.
words don't follow
Yeah.
phonetic.
No. Yeah, it's not a fun language to learn, I'm sure. All right, order. Oh, how many times have we talked about order? 1 to 3. Your 1 and 2-year-olds, order is their sensitive period, which is why it is so important for things to be put back where they belong in those classrooms, which is also why if a child enters our Children's House program having not gone to a Montessori school before entering, they have a harder time normalizing to the environment because they are not used to things being in order. They're used to them being thrown into buckets and stored in a bin, and it doesn't matter where it goes back on the shelf as long as it's back on the shelf. So you'll see some distinct differences between children who have been raised in a Montessori program in a classroom that was providing that level of order versus a child who has been in the home setting or in another type of child care facility where that wasn't an important component of their environment. Attention to detail. 2-year-olds. 2-year-olds have an immense amount of attention to detail. They're going to notice every little thing and nuance, which again is why order and routine is so important in the twos classroom, because they will know if it is not what it's supposed to be. And they might not be able to articulate the frustration in knowing that something is off, but you will know that they know that something is off. You have a teacher in that classroom who does not normally work in that classroom, those kids are going to have a different day.
Yeah.
Hopefully not a bad one, but they're going to have a different kind of day because their attention to detail is telling them that the nuances of how this day is flowing is different.
Or when you just learned how the day's supposed to go and they think you don't know, and you're just like,
Exactly. So it's important in all the ages, but these are the ages where like it's the most important. You're going to notice the twos fall into play in most of these situations. So the 2-year-old classroom, that's why it's such a finicky classroom, because they are exploding into all of the sensitive periods, basically. Yes, all of them. Motor skills is also age 2. So that's when they want to throw, they want to run, they want to jump, they want to climb, they want to do all of the things motor related.
All their boundaries.
Yes. And then social relationships 2 to 5. So that's when they really start to care about what their peers think, having a friend, calling people friends, the collaborative play.
You're not invited to my birthday.
Oh, I can't stand that. Yes.
Still learning.
But yes, that's a good developmental milestone for them to reach, that they understand they want to go to people's birthday
Yeah.
parties and that they have a choice and autonomy over who gets to go. So yes, those are all very important things. Control of error, a method of self-correction that is built into both materials and teaching method that provide the child the opportunity to correct themselves rather than depend on the adult to correct them. How many of you guys have seen this particular material? And it might not have as many holes if you work in the infant or ones classroom. Have you seen it?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Just want to make sure. All right. So these are knobbed cylinders, or you can refer to them as cylinder blocks. Control of error in this particular activity. Can anybody describe what that might be?
Fitting it in the correct spot so that it's all level. The
Like,
box.
like spatial awareness and analyzation of like how it fits.
Yeah, so that's the skill that it's teaching. But can any of those be replaced with any other ones? Or does it have to be in a particular order?
Has to be in a particular one.
Yeah, each cylinder will only fit in a particular hole properly. So does the teacher have to correct them if they get it wrong?
No.
No.
They can see that's not right. Maybe it'll fit in this
Yeah.
one.
So a control of error is actually the way that the teacher observes whether or not a student understands the concept. Because if a child works with that and they're very happy and content, we don't correct them if they got it wrong. That's not our job to correct them if they got it wrong.
Right.
If they're using it nicely, but they have them all in the wrong order, do you say anything?
No, because it's a learning experience.
Yeah. And that indicates to us that that child does not understand that material, and therefore they should continue to work with it until they can self-explore and self-correct, use control of error. It's built into the material itself so that the teacher can step back and observe the child's understanding.
my favorite one I ever watched a kid do with that they corrected themselves, is they put in a piece upside down to where the handle was facing upside down. All the others were in perfectly. Just this one piece in the right spot was upside down. And they went, and they're trying, and then they go, every single piece out one
They took it all out.
and then pick it up, dump it over. Let's try again. I was like,
The determination is incredible there, but then also like they didn't quite have the full comprehension of I can just literally pick up this one piece and flip it over. I have to start all over.
Yeah.
And that was beautiful that you didn't intervene. You didn't try to provide any help. They didn't
Yeah.
need help in that situation.
And I was curious. I'm like, how are they gonna fit? How are they gonna do this?
They did it.
Yeah, they did.
Did they do it right the second time you said?
Yeah, they
They
did.
did
I
well.
was very impressed.
Control of error teaches them problem solving skills without us having to tell them if they
Yeah.
did something correct or not, which is huge in everyday life outside of
Yeah, it also focuses on those things of intrinsic motivation. They don't need an external factor to come in and provide extra support. It's that perseverance, the celebration, and that's where you step in at the very end and you can celebrate the personal victory with them. But we also want to allow them the opportunity to experience that personal victory without somebody else having to tell them that it was a victory.
Yeah.
So you don't always have to tell a child that they did something well.
Yeah.
That they did it, that they should be proud of themselves. Let them just experience that. If they look joyful and they want to share it with you, great. You don't have to step in every single time somebody has a personal victory. You can allow them to experience that on their own.
Do your own pledge now.
Yeah, they usually do.
I don't know if you did, but
They
yeah.
did. They did. All right, constructive roaming. This is a huge topic. Constructive, huge.
Your guys'
Yes.
position.
Yes, this is going to make a huge impact on whether or not you intervene with the student who is not working on a lesson. How do you guys know if a child is wandering around the classroom, whether or not you should intervene?
If they're being disruptive.
Disruptive. You stop, you watch. So if you see a child just wandering around the classroom, maybe it's been 2 minutes since they've done a piece of work. Do you instantly go to them and say, oh, let me help you find something to do?
No.
No, you shouldn't. Because are they being disruptive? Are they being destructive? If they are, then certainly that's when you go in and intervene.
Oh, I will clarify. Watch in a way where they don't think that you're watching.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, you're
I've
not
had a
like,
point where I've watched and then we have a couple kids where it's like they will do stuff if they think you're watching because they want you to intervene, and I'm like, I stood a bit too close. They caught on.
yes, that's right. So put this back on you guys. If you're working on a task really hard for a while, like you're working on a project, you wrote an email, or you just gave a lesson to a student, or you just changed a diaper and you washed hands and you like did the full lunch setup routine, whatever. Do you guys ever just need a break? Like, and not necessarily a break out of the room, but like, just like, I'm just going to take a breather and stand here for a minute and just like observe my environment and see what's going on and like kind of get a reset before I jump into something else that requires a lot of mental effort. You guys ever take those moments throughout your day?
Mm-hmm.
That's what this is. It's deliberate movement a child makes from place to place while considering options in the process of choosing an activity. They do not have to be on task all day long. Constructive roaming is on task. That might involve, you have a sensory seeker? You like to touch everything? I'll pick my material up and kind of look at it at the shelf for a minute. I come over here and fiddle with this stuff. Now you can pick it up and turn around and look around the room. Am I going to intervene with any of that?
No. They're
Now.
having enrichment time in their enclosure.
Which is our classroom, I
Yes,
guess.
I love that.
Now, I took a piece of material from the shelf and I start walking away with it.
And someone is trying to get the lesson.
Somebody else comes up behind me. Yeah.
Oh, I want to do this.
I do this. That lesson does not include a control there, so you cannot tell if it's missing anything, but that's beside the point.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Did you want to do that lesson, or can we put this back in? Because you had it first.
I haven't learned that lesson yet,
Okay,
Christine.
sorry.
I haven't gone there.
Can you give it to Miss Michaela so she can do that one? Okay. Thank you. I'm very proud of you for putting this out. Is there something else you'd like to look at?
Well, I'm gonna wander.
If you need help, let me know.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah. So lots of nuances go into figuring out whether or not you should actually intervene with a student. If they're constructively roaming, they're looking through the classroom, or maybe they even stop to observe another student who's working. Man, looks like what you're doing is really interesting. I'm not saying this. This is just like,
I was thinking.
I'm just standing here. Is she bothered? Am I bothering her?
Well, have you asked her?
No, I'm not working with her. I'm just sitting here watching her.
Oh,
And if she's not reacting to you being there, then she's accepting you being there.
For now.
And a lot of times if they aren't reactive, then the child starts to notice the person there, and then they might start like collaborative opportunity with that child. And
So
that will
most-
help that child feel really comfortable. And maybe that's what they were missing in finding their own lesson, is that comfort and that like reliability. And that child just gave that to them.
So don't interrupt a child's focus in any capacity unless it's at some point becoming disruptive or destructive or dangerous. The D's. All right, awesome. We'll get into a lot of that more, but constructive roaming is a good thing.
If you
Right.
see a child in your classroom walking around, don't go tell them to find work.
Yeah,
Okay.
just looking around.
I see that all the time.
Don't nag them to go find work. See if they actually need assistance with that, but do it through observation and only intervene if necessary. The least amount of support for them to be successful on their own, right?
I will say though, I have told a kid, I'm like, you can go find work or go to Peace Corner, because they were constructive roaming. They were constructive roaming to find which kid will I bother next to get a rise out of. And I was like, oh.
And there's a whole level of behaviors that like high
Yeah.
level, if you have a behavior plan for a specific student and there are things that you're supposed to do to intervene, like that doesn't apply. This is like our typical student in the classroom who does not have any extenuating circumstances.
Like we're talking about constructive roaming, not destructive roaming.
Exactly. Thank you. There's a huge difference between
Constructive
Those
and
two-
destructive.
yes. All right, we're not going to get super deep into points of interest. This is something that plays into when you're actually giving lessons to students. So just be aware that there are things that we can do to a lesson to modify it to engage the student deeper. And it's getting to know the personal interests and sensory needs of a particular child.
I'm going to say one thing. So point of interest in your guys' job, or your role in the classroom could be if a child's not wanting to pick out a paper towel. Like I think that's an example that says they're not wanting to dry their hands, or they're using too
They're
much
forgetting,
soap.
maybe they're forgetting to
They're
dry their
forgetting
hands.
to do it, making it exciting. So instead of just being like, oh, paper towel, and like doing it for them, being like, oh my goodness, your hands are so wet, and like make it very exciting for them. And obviously you're not going to do that for every single child. So you're just kind of differentiating that point of interest to get them to do the activity that you're trying to do.
Or you have a child who pumps like 10 things into their hand of soap.
Yes.
You can make a point of interest of, oh, let me give you a lesson. We do one pump.
Mm-hmm.
And every time you do it with them, one pump, whatever. It doesn't have to be that. That's just
And
an
then every
example.
time afterwards, they go, Mr. Scott, I got only one pump.
Yay!
Yeah. So it's those types of things within your guys' role that you can
Yes.
do.
Thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah.
And it makes bubbles.
Oh,
no
Look how
bubbles.
much
Keep
bubbles we can make with the one pump. Whoa.
Now we have to wash away the bubbles.
But like, what do you do if a child gets a little too invested in doing it? Like, if you like every time you turn around, they just go back and wash their hands, and they keep doing that for several
That's
weeks
so
at a
sensitive.
time.
Yes, that probably indicates that they're in a sensitive period for water. And so let's talk to our lead teacher about what types of water activities we can introduce into the classroom so we can redirect them from running water at the sink to working with washing dishes or pouring water or something else that is a productive activity that they can do as much as they want to.
Observe that point of interest, report to lead teacher.
Yes, exactly. Similar with isolation of difficulty, this is something that we really look at when we're giving lessons. But basically what this means is your expectations of a child completing a task involves a lot of subtasks. So we have to figure out if a child is struggling with anything we've asked them to do, where's the disconnect? What's the actual thing that they're struggling with? Process of washing hands. They're missing a lot of steps in that process. Okay, well, there's a lot of steps to get through that process, right? We have to go to the sink. Maybe we need a step stool. We need to get soap. We need to turn on the water. We need to wash our hands. We need to get a paper towel. We need to turn off the water. There's a lot of steps there, right? So what can we do to isolate those steps, break it apart for them, and focus on one concept at a time? There's lots of things that could go into that.
Yeah.
So just keep that in mind if you have a child struggling with any procedure in your classroom, and then specifically when it gets to them doing a work in the room, we want to make sure we're building upon concepts and not just expecting them to get a 5-step process down once. which is why we typically give one instruction at a time when we're asking children to go from point A to point B. So we're transitioning from circle time to lunch. How many things do they need to do between circle time and lunch? Lots of things. In a children's house classroom, you're probably okay giving 3-step instructions, but you might have students who that's too much.
You shouldn't give an instruction over the age of the child.
Yes, and
They're-
that pretty much maxes out at 3.
Yeah, because you have 3-year-olds in a children's house classroom.
So if you're in the twos room and it's time to wash up and get ready for lunch, we're not going to say, all right, stand up, go to the sink, wash your hands, dry your hands, come sit down at the table. There's a lot of steps. Are they going to remember those? No, they're going to remember maybe 2 of them.
I feel like a lot of adults would even struggle following
Yeah.
that.
Exactly.
They just remember the last thing you said.
Yeah, and usually the recency effect, they're going to remember the most recent thing they've heard, which is the last step in that process. So they're going to get up and they're going to go to the table.
That explains why a lot of the younger kids who get into children's house really like the process of you walking them through. It's like, let's learn how to wash our hands, because it's like they're not having some, like you said, nagging them like
Yeah.
constantly over. They're like, oh, they know it. Now they're helping me do it on my own. Like,
Yep.
I never thought of that before. Like,
So washing your hands,
yeah.
that's a lesson.
Yeah,
You need to
that's
give them a
new to children's
lesson
house.
on how to wash your hands and the full procedure of what your expectations are. And you're probably going to have to repeat that a few times. And then you might have to break it apart because it's too many steps for them to remember.
Also, because like when you say like a sentence or a paragraph, like the brain tends to like prioritize like what the most important aspects of it was, and then like forget the rest.
Yes. And what's important to me is not important to you. So you're going to remember the things I didn't want you to hear in that sequence. So yeah, all very important things. Very important things. All right. Normalization. Normalization is an overarching ideal of what we want a Montessori classroom to look like. It means that your children are able to navigate their environment on their own. They understand the expectations of completing a cycle of activity, and they are fairly self-sufficient. So you're able to step back and do a lot of observation and then intervene as necessary to provide minimal amounts of support for them to be successful on their own.
I think we identified this before, but does anyone remember what a cycle of activity is? I don't think we actually defined it.
I like define it very briefly.
Very briefly. So a cycle of activity is starting a process and ending at the exact same spot. So in a classroom, it's pretty much you're grabbing a lesson off of the shelf. Haha. Is that what they do first, Mr. Scott? No.
No.
What do they need first?
Need a work group.
They
A
need
work
Oh,
group.
you asked what do they, is that what they
Oh,
do
okay.
first?
You're-
Not, is that
you're
what
right.
they should do
Is that,
first?
you're right. I should rephrase that. So it's going and getting that work rug. It's putting the work rug down. It's unrolling that work rug. It's making, if you have a name tag, putting that name tag down on that work rug. It's going to the shelf, finding that lesson, bringing that lesson and all of its parts to that work rug. It's using the lesson, doing that lesson, and then taking that lesson, putting it back together the way that you, hopefully, ideally the way it's supposed to be. Sometimes you don't find it the way it's supposed to
Yeah.
be. Putting it back on the shelf, and that is a whole cycle of activity. If they are going to find another lesson, they're going to find another lesson. If they're done, they're going to roll up that work rug and put it away. So it's completing a whole task from start to finish.
And then all the other things that go into the classroom, like when and where you're allowed to have snack, how to go to the restroom, getting our diaper changed, all of the normal routines of the day flow with minimal direction from the teachers. Intervention from the teachers, I should say.
Yes.
Lots of direction from the teachers consistently. Minimal intervention from the teachers. That's a normalized classroom. And you can have that.
What is that quote?
Which one?
As if it's-
Oh.
you don't know- what is it?
The goal of
I need to look it up.
Montessori is for the teacher to exist as if, no, for the children, no,
Yes.
I'm butchering it. I think it might be on the next slide. Nope, it's not. How is that not in here?
Hold on. I'm trying to find it.
For the children to
The
exist as,
greatest sign of success for a teacher is to be able to say that children are now working as if I did not exist.
thank you.
Yeah.
I butchered that.
I did too. I had to look it up.
So your goal ultimately is to be present in the classroom and your children just be doing their work.
You're just super that.
Exactly. You're there to provide the minimal amount of support when needed. You know how long it typically takes a child to become normalized?
About 6 weeks.
Sorry, infant and toddler teachers, I'm really sorry.
You're not in our room long enough.
3 years.
Yeah. But you
3
guys
years.
do have moments in your classroom
That doesn't, yeah.
feel very normal.
Yes. A normalized classroom, it looks very different in a 1, 2, and or 0, 1, and 2 classroom because you're still having to provide a lot of assistance throughout the day to your students. You still have to change their diapers, you still have to prepare their food. Like they're not doing all of the self-serve things that they do in a children's house environment because they physically are not capable of providing that level of independence for themselves, which is partly why it takes 3 years. But if a child starts in our infant program, it is very normal for them to be normalized when they enter a children's house environment. But if you have a 3-year-old who starts in our program who has never been in a Montessori classroom and they've never been introduced to Montessori concepts in home, they might not be normalized until they get to that 3rd year of children's house.
And then you have the 3-year-olds like who just got into children's house, whose friend from the old twos room is moving up, and then it's like they go and help normalize them for you, and I'm like, that was so sweet of you. You've been here 3 months, and now you've already showing another friend.
Yes, that's wonderful. It is very exciting. So that is like to have like a fully normalized classroom, you need a majority of students who are normalized.
Yeah.
Now, it's also a spectrum. You're going to have normalized days, normalized moments, normalized students. And you can even have that sometimes in the 1's room, definitely in the 2's room, especially those older kiddos in your 2's classroom. But normalized classrooms are a state of mind for that particular day. It's not necessarily going to be like every time you walk into your classroom, it's going to be fully normalized. That's just like everyone's having a good day. We're on a good flow. My students understand what the expectations are. I think that most beautifully normalized classroom I've ever seen was Miss Becca's classroom during COVID, because she had over half of her class were 3rd year students who had been in our program since like the infants or 1's classroom. Yeah. And it was amazing. But because of COVID, parents decided to keep their kids with us, and we don't typically have that many 3rd year students. But that is a very important component of why those older students are very, very necessary.
We kind of already touched on this one.
Yeah, so play is the important work of early childhood. We call it work because there is an intention behind what we're doing. Everything that we have available for the students to do in the classroom serves a purpose. Potty training, we're going to the bathroom, toilet learning, we have a learning goal there. That's why we call it toilet learning versus potty training, because they are learning the process of being proficient at using the bathroom. They're not just learning to pee on the toilet. There's a whole lot more that goes into using the toilet than just peeing on the toilet, right? Got to pull our pants down, got to learn how to wipe, got to pull our pants up, we have to flush, we have to wash our hands. There's a whole long process there. So it's very important for us as Montessorians to call what the children do in our environments work. And that is why you will never hear one of our leaders, we will never hear one of the leaders in our organization calling it play or toys.
I did have a question regarding that because it'll be fast. I'm aware that we call it work, but one of the things that happened a while back that made me question, it's like what like the appropriateness of calling certain things work, but then it's like, oh, we're gonna go play outside. Whereas, okay, so Montessori work is work, but then they go outside and it's play. Why do we call certain things work and then other things that they do that it's like, oh, well, playing on the playground and learning, it's like, oh, I scraped my knee, but I'm fine. Like, how is that not work for them? Like,
it's a good question.
I think it is work, but I think the difference is that you can't always control the environment outside. You can always prepare it the same way that you can in your classroom.
Okay.
There's also a lot more freedom of what the students are allowed to do when they're on the playground
Yeah.
versus when we're talking about work, most of the time we're talking about the physical classroom materials, the items in the classroom.
Because we have specific goals that those materials teach. So
Mhm.
in the playground, it's more open-ended.
So the expectations we set for them helps make it work. Gotcha. Okay.
So not to say that playing outside is not important,
Yeah.
but that's also why our teachers are now required to have outdoor lesson plans so that we do have intentional work that we're doing outside as well. But a lot of that's also a break. Like that's meant to be a brain
Yeah.
break. It's meant for us to just be able to not work. I need to go to the water cooler and get, have a little chit chat with my coworker over here. Like it's one of those situations where you get to take a break from the important work that you're doing in the classroom. So it's intentionally set to be something different.
Okay.
It's kind of a reset for the kids.
Work cycle. Are we covering this one?
You please.
Yeah, I know. I have to leave in like 2 minutes.
You
I have to
start
leave.
and I'll take it over. And then I'll end
Okay,
the call.
cool. All right, so we've got this really cool chart on here. This is a chart that was tracked by Maria Montessori herself after observing many, what she called 3-hour work cycles. So the morning session, this is primarily for a children's house classroom, but it does apply for our younger ages, just the scale looks a little bit different. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 through this scale. Let me walk you through what these numbers are. Number 1 is entering the environment. We're coming in the morning, we're greeting, we're getting settled in, we're doing our morning work, we're having breakfast, we're kind of easing into the day. And then at the tail end of that one, we are transitioning to circle time. And you're going to see the scale kind of go up a little bit. They're kind of focused on circle time a little bit. We're going to go into open work time. We're focused on open work time. And then all of a sudden it dips, that 3. What did you call it?
10-minute.
Fatigue. How many of you guys have heard of the 10-minute or false fatigue? The false fatigue. Yes. That is where you're going to start seeing a lot of students off task. They just all of a sudden all get up, and that's where, like, if you have runners, you're going to start seeing kids start to engage in destructive roaming and all of the behaviors that we don't want to happen. This is scientifically tracked by Maria Montessori to happen in every Montessori classroom. And it doesn't have to get that wild.
It does still. It happens
can.
in infant classroom too.
It happens in the infant room. They have moments. What is this? What is happening? Why all of a sudden do they have this dip? Because after a short period of concentration, we get fatigued. We're like, I did some work. I'm like engaged in my day, but all of a sudden I just need to get some wiggles out, and I'm like, I need to reset. I need to re-engage. So that's what that period is. It's their opportunity to do some wandering throughout the classroom, figure out what they want to focus on. But the really cool thing is if you can get through that false fatigue, typically 10 to 15 minutes is how long it lasts, then you're going to see their concentration levels in the classroom skyrocket. You're going to see a child work for 45 minutes on the same activity after that.
Where their most optimal learning can happen.
Yes. So getting past the fatigue is a challenge in a lot of classrooms, but if you believe in the method and you believe in the procedures that you have in place and they are effective, you're going to get your kids more focused than ever and being able to do that really hard work.
Now that you guys
can set up clocks and things.
so now that you know this, it changes your viewpoint of what your role is in the classroom during that time. So if you are really focused on if you need to go, you need to focus on. I'm done. I have to group. I have to. If you guys are trying to set up cots during that time, or if you are in a twos classroom and you are doing all the toileting at that time, or if you're in the infant classroom and you're trying to prep all of the bottles and you're trying to change all the diapers during that time, how are you going to support those children through that fatigue? Is it going to happen? So it's really important during that time frame that the lead and whoever's in that classroom both notice what's happening. Okay, so sometimes that lead teacher is going to be down, they're going to be giving lessons, they're going to be doing those things they learn in that certification process, right? You as the assistant need to make sure that you're up and that maybe you're communicating with your lead. They might be fully in depth in that lesson. They may be not noticing some of the things that you've noticed. Do some nonverbal communication. You might even go over to them because this is important. You guys know what's going to happen. It happens every single day. Maria Montessori says it, guys. You probably have witnessed it every day. The floaters might be walking into a classroom. It's like, oh, this is crazy. What is happening here?
We're always like,
They're like,
Must be
I'm gonna
10
go back to
o'clock.
the other room, kind of chaos.
It's like, I'll come back later.
Yeah. So sometimes our response is what gets them out of this. It's what gets them to that optimal learning time. So if we're stressed or if we're bringing in weird vibes, if we're like in
We're
panic
like, oh,
mode, what are those kids going to do? Panic.
I need
A straight panic. Are you going to be able to go past that 10-minute fatigue or false fatigue?
Not if we're stressed about it.
It'll
No.
become real.
Get them.
So if you very nonchalantly like make eye contact with that lead, or the lead's doing the same with you, or you're doing with as a floater in your classroom, and you're just like, everyone gets up. All the teachers are up. You're finishing what you're doing very quickly. You're very calmly getting up, and you're just monitoring. You're just watching when you're needing to intervene. Child's running across the classroom trying to jump on top of a shelf. Haha, how should you handle that? Stop. Is that what we're gonna do?
Nope. We don't even yell,
No.
walk smoothly through the wood.
Walk slowly and carefully over. Miss Sarah just tried to push over a shelf. Oh no. Miss Sarah, do we have a lot of energy right now?
I want pink.
You want to paint? That is such a great option. Would you like to show me where the paint is, or would you like me to show you where the paint is?
You.
Okay, come on, let's go. And then you walk over together. So that took not even a minute, right? I got down to her level. I noticed something about her body, which is creating a pattern. She had a lot of energy, right? You can also do some other plays on that. Oh, she was not being safe. You can do all of those things. Obviously, if this is repeating behavior, Miss Sarah's trying to shove over the shelves in the classroom, we're going to handle that slightly differently.
Can you repeat that with me? I want to see how you'll respond to a certain thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. How many more minutes do we have? I don't want to
Two.
waste your time. Okay.
Good.
All right. What are you doing?
Let's pretend I did the same thing. I knocked over a
You're
shelf.
trying to knock over a
Yeah.
shelf. Oh no. Oh, I see that we're struggling right now. Did you feel that? Wow, thank you for getting my attention. It looks like we're struggling a little bit right now. You think so? Do you think we should go calm our bodies, or would you like my help to find something new to do?
calm my body.
All right, where do we calm our body?
Peace corner.
Peace corner. Do you need a little help with that calm, or do you think you can do it all by yourself?
I can do it by
Okay,
myself.
I'm gonna be really close so I can make sure I'm there to help you if you need help, okay? All right, let's go. Go to calm corner.
Okay. I like that. Okay.
So that's kind of how you address those. But if all the teachers in the classroom are observing and all the teachers in the classroom are calm and they are helping through that false fatigue, it's not going to feel chaotic. Your false fatigue eventually might be one child is going to be
Mhm.
bonkers. And you're going to be like, we're all up, we're all waiting. Nothing happened. They all re-engaged themselves. And it's pretty beautiful and incredible. So that's kind of your role in this false fatigue. It happens in every classroom. So when you're floating in all of those toddler classrooms, when you're floating in all those children's house classrooms, you will start to see, you're going to pick up on it, and just know that your guys' role in that is crucial.
Mhm.
So really cool. It's really exciting. I'll come into a classroom and I'll be like, false fatigue. And I can almost always pick it up, and you guys will be able to too. And it's a really cool skill, Montessorian skill. Well, we are going to actually stop there. I think we might have had one other slide. This is just explaining what's happening, so we don't have to dive back into that. But that was all of our important Montessori terms today. Who feels like they're getting closer to being a Montessorian right now? Who feels like they are better understanding how Montessori is working? Who feels like they are educating their children versus monitoring and supervising children? Who feels like you're an educator?
I kind of do by monitoring.
Yeah. So the things that you guys are doing are very purposeful, and they might seem very minute or very small, but they're huge, and they have a huge lasting impact on these children into their adulthood. So you guys play a huge critical role in this learning journey and the forming of these personalities and forming of these children. And it's beautiful. So pat yourselves on the back. You guys are doing amazing. Do you guys have any questions? With a lot. We took a lot in today. So just continue working on your Montessori Assistants training. If you are not through, we just finished Montessori Philosophy 101. So that is section, I think, module 2 in both trainings. If you have not finished module 2, please do that and go ahead and do the next couple if you can, because that's what we're going to be covering next class. Sound good?
Yep.
All right. You guys have a good night.
Thank you.
Happy Friday tomorrow.
You enjoy your weekend.
Thank you. I will.